Okay, boys and girls, this is our last page in today's instruction where our learning target is generating and displaying data. So you can see I have brought up the two pictographs we created in the last video. They represent the same information, just a little bit differently. The first pictograph shows each heart representing one student's vote, and the second pictograph shows each heart representing two students' votes. And I like the second one better because it's less hearts you have to draw. You do have to draw a half a heart for some of them if you have an odd number. So again, in review, if we go back to green and we count each heart as two, 4 people counted or voted for green. If we go to red, we have 2, 4, 6, and half of one would be 1 vote. 7 people voted for red. All right, so both pictographs show the same information. But now we're going to answer some information based on those pictographs. It says use the pictograph in problem 3B to answer the following questions. So really important that we're looking at 3B, which is this one. 3B is the bottom one, okay? What does each heart represent? Well, if we come down here, it gives us our answer right there. How easy is that? Each heart represents 2 students. So I can type my answer in here. You guys can write it. We can say each heart represents 2 students. And if it's quicker for you boys and girls, you can just write 2 students. Just make sure you dress up your numbers, okay? Let's look at B. It says draw a picture and write a number sentence to show how to represent 3 students in your pictograph. So they want us to draw a picture. How would we represent 3 students? Well, we did that for orange, okay? We need to represent 3 students. Each heart in the bottom graph represents 2. So this would be 2 students. And then if we have a half of one, that would be 3 students. So 2 plus 1 equals 3, okay? I just want to see if you understand how you have to break your symbol and your key apart if you have only 1 student that you're trying to represent. Okay, question C. How many students does, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hearts represent? Write a number sentence to show how you know. Well, each one of those hearts is 2 votes or 2 students. Remember, we're looking at the second pictograph. So I could add 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. But if you think about what we've learned in 3rd grade about repeated addition, I bet you can come up with a better number sentence. Something would be much quicker. How many hearts do we have? We have 7 hearts. Each one represents 2 students. So we could say 7 times 2 equals 14. And let's dress that up, 14 students. Okay. So the 7 represents the 7 hearts, the 2 represents the value of each heart, the 14 students represents how many total students would be represented with 7 hearts. We can use multiplication. So we can use repeated addition, skip counting, multiplication in this second bar graph, or pictograph, I'm sorry. Okay, question D. How many more hearts did you draw for the color that students chose the most? Let's make sure we understand what's going on here. How many more hearts did you draw for the color that students chose the most than for the color that students chose the least? Well, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to label them. The one that they chose the most was red, so I'm going to put an M here. The one that they chose the least was yellow, so I'm going to put an L there. And then that kind of helps me organize my thoughts. All right, so how many more hearts did we draw for the color that students chose the most? Well, red was 3.5 hearts. Yellow was 1. So if we count over and above that 1 heart, we would get 1, 2, 2.5 more hearts. So we could write that here as 2 and 1/2 more hearts. Okay. And then it says to write a number sentence to show the difference between the number of votes for the color that students chose the most and the color that students chose the least. So now they're asking us to write that number sentence. Remember how important that is, and that's why I try to get you to do it as often as possible. So now we're going to write a number sentence. We're not counting the hearts. We're actually counting the number of votes. So red was 2, 4, 6, 7. That was the most voted for color. And we want to find the difference between that and the least. Yellow right here was only 2. So 7 minus 2 equals 5 students. Okay. All right, boys and girls, that's it. I hope you found this YouTube video helpful. And if this is hard for you, try to join one of my Zooms and see if it's easier for you to do it with a Zoom call. And don't forget, you can pause the video and go back, rewind, and rewatch if you need to. Thanks so much, boys and girls.